Good evening to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial, how does it start? Cart before the horse. You can easily make out it is all about police arresting a person first, then looking for a reason. It should be the other way. They have to find a reason, only then if it can be justified, they have to arrest the person. Based on that, this editorial starts with an idiomatic expression. What is it? Cart before the horse. And this editorial, the reason for bringing this editorial, there are so many words. I had to spend a lot of time to be very frank or to be candid. And there's so much to learn from this editorial. Besides the editorial analysis, besides enriching your comprehension skill, grammar knowledge, vocabulary, today you're going to work on practice questions like errors, phrases, para-jumble, idioms, and as usual, editorial vocabulary. Let us start the session with editorial vocabulary. At the outset, I would like to tell you guys today a lot of words, and many of these words are not that easy, not quite familiar. In fact, I had to drop a few familiar words. The first one, it is not a word, it's an idiomatic expression. Cart before the horse. Usually it should be the other way. First the horse, then the cart. But when we say put the cart before the horse, it means something is done contrary to the natural or normally effective sequence of events. When we write the numbers, we write this way. Imagine I write 3, 2, 1. That is not the correct order. The same way we don't follow the natural order, then we have to put the horse first, then the cart. We try to change it, then definitely you can use this one. The second one, fish for. This is also an idiomatic expression. What does it mean? Try to get something such as praise or attention, but in this context, find out a reason in an indirect way. Reverse order, you can say that also. The next one, it's a phrase. Draw attention. To make someone notice something. Draw attention of someone means make someone notice something. Bemoan, an important word, part of speech verb. Express discontent or sorrow over something. Bemoan something. Express discontent, unhappiness, or sorrow over something. Lament, in a way, same meaning, subtle difference. That is also a verb, a regular verb. A passionate expression of grief or sorrow. Passionate expression of grief or sorrow, more intensity. Discriminate, opposite, indiscriminate, part of speech adjective. Done at random or without careful judgment. Someone does something without judgment, without any rationality, without any reason, then we say indiscriminate. Usually this goes with whenever there is a protest, sometimes police may resort to indiscriminate firing without deciding, without using. Please listen to the editorial analysis without using any rationality. Incarceration, we have got the word for the first time. Part of speech noun. What does it mean? Incarceration. It means the state of being confined in prison. In a simple one word, incarceration means imprisonment. What is it? Imprisonment. Trial, we have got many a time, part of speech noun. A formal examination of evidence by a judge, typically before a jury, in order to decide guilt in a case of criminal or civil proceedings. Whatever happens in the court, the first hearing, the second hearing, the third hearing, the whole process is known as trial. Crackdown, we have got many a time. Phrasal verb, to start dealing with bad or illegal behavior in a more severe way. Usually it goes with a crackdown, uprising or revolt or protest. We use the expression crackdown, phrasal verb. Aligned has two or three meanings. One goes with design elements, but here aligned means give support to a person, organization, or cause. Liberty, part of speech noun. The state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions of the government, usually freedom in a way you can say. Nevertheless, adverb, in spite of that, notwithstanding, all the same. All the three meanings you can think of. Verdict, this is a legal term, part of speech noun, a decision on an issue of fact in a civil or criminal case or an inquest. The final decision, we use the word verdict. Verdict also goes with elections. At the time of elections, the verdict of the public, we also use in that context. Reiterate, I use quite often, part of speech verb. Say something again or a number of times, typically for emphasis or clarity. I would like to reiterate, or he has reiterated something. Call for, we have got many a time. Make something necessary. You can also think of demand. The situation calls for something, means the situation demands something, or make something necessary. An important phrasal verb. Standing orders, this also goes with the print media. Standing orders, it's a phrase, an instruction of prescribed procedure in force permanently or until changed or cancelled. One has to implement the standing orders, means till they are changed, they have to implement. Adhere to, we have got many a time. This goes with the rules, regulations. It is a phrasal verb. Believe in and follow the practices of. You can say adhere to means stick to the rules and the procedures. Accused, again a familiar word, a person or group of people who are charged with or on trial for a crime. You say something has done something wrong, then that person is known as the accused, the one who is accused. Deny, from that you get the word denial, part of speech noun, a statement that something is not true. Deny, to say no, denial, a statement that something is not true. Glaring, part of speech adjective. One meaning of the word glaring, shining, but here of something bad, negative connotation, quite obvious or very obvious, glaring mistake, glaring blunder. Fade goes with everyday English, part of speech verb. Gradually grow faint and disappear or vanish. Overhaul, part of speech verb, the act of completely changing something, restructuring, you can say. Disposal of, single F, not double F, mind you guys, and get rid of, also single F, not double F, part of speech noun, the action or process of getting rid of something. Anticipatory goes with bail because the context is all about arresting someone, someone getting the bail or not getting the bail. Anticipatory, the feeling you get when you know what is coming, in anticipation of something, in expectation of something. Underscore, one of the meanings to stress or emphasize. Flee, fled, fled, part of speech verb, run away from a place or situation of danger. Tamper, interfere with something in order to cause damage or make unauthorized alterations. Tamper with something. Even this word has a negative connotation. Moot, part of speech verb, raise, it goes with a question or a topic. Raise a question or topic for discussion. Suggest an idea or possibility, two different meanings. And the last one, usually this goes with efforts, actions. Streamline your efforts, usually I say when I talk to the students. Part of speech adjective, it could be a verb, in fact, streamlined adjective. As a verb, what does it mean? Streamline your efforts means simplify something to make it more efficient or profitable. When you work hard, when you want to achieve something, you have to put in a lot of efforts and you have to streamline your efforts. Very good. Moot point. That is a typical combination. So many words from today's editorial only on vocabulary. I had to spend almost 9 minutes. Now let us go to the editorial. Not that easy to comprehend for two reasons. One, it goes with crime, legal aspects. The second, so many words. If you know the meanings of these words, within no time you will be able to comprehend. But if you don't know the meanings, then it becomes an uphill task, very difficult to comprehend. So how does it start? Cart before the horse. The on bail law in India. It's all about, but you cannot make out what it is about. You have to read the next sentence to get the main idea of the editorial. Police should not arrest first and then fish for a possible offense. Obviously, what is the reason? First, they have to find the offense. Based on the offense committed by a person, they have to make the arrest. They have to arrest a person. But the editorial says it is what is happening right now in the present scenario. It is the other way. Based on that, the main idea, it is not advisable. Should not, the helping verb should is used. It has two functions. In this context of function, it is used to advise or suggest someone. Police should not arrest first and then fish for a possible offense. Here, cart before the horse, something is done contrary to the natural or normally effective sequence of events. Another idiomatic expression, fish for. Actual literal meaning, that's also an idiom, try to get something such as praise or attention in an indirect way. But in this context, fish for something, fish for what? Possible offense. That means what? Search for, look for a possible offense. Police should not arrest first and then fish for a possible offense. It should be the other way. Based on this, it starts with cart before the horse. Now, what is the reason behind writing this editorial? Two recent pronouncements. Pronouncement means public statement. Two recent pronouncements, one a judicial order and another a public speech by the Chief Justice of India, CJI, have drawn attention. Draw attention means to make someone notice something. Have two things have drawn attention to the manner in which bail law operates in the country. In a nutshell, this editorial is all about how the bail law operates in our country. So, two recent pronouncements, one a judicial order and another public speech by the Chief Justice of India. These two things have drawn attention to the manner in which bail law operates in the country. So, what is the first one? Judicial order. While the Supreme Court in Satyendra Kumar Until versus CBI has sought to expand the scope for the grant of early bail to those arrested without sufficient cause, the first thing it talks about the judicial order. While the Supreme Court in Satyendra Kumar Until versus CBI has sought to expand the scope for the grant of early bail, it should not be delayed, to those arrested without sufficient cause. Sufficient cause, they cannot expect the bail, but without sufficient cause, they deserve the bail. It should be early bail. The second thing, the CJI NV Ramana has bemoaned the injury. Bemoan, an important word, express discontent or sorrow over something. Injury to personal liberty caused by hasty arrests. The word liberty means, in a way, the state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions, in a way, freedom. Here, the second dimension, what does it talk about? The CJI, Chief Justice of India, NV Ramana, has bemoaned the injury to personal liberty caused by hasty arrests. One thing, hurdles in the way of releasing suspects on bail, and the prolonged incarceration of those under trial. A lengthy sentence, and there are some words you have to know the meanings, only then you can comprehend. The Chief Justice of India, NV Ramana, has bemoaned, means what? Expressed discontent, not happy, because of the injury to personal liberty caused by hasty arrest. Hasty means what? Doing things in a hurry. There is an expression in English. What is it? Haste makes waste. Have you heard of that? Haste makes waste. So, to personal liberty caused by hasty arrests, hurdles, we have got this many a time. Hurdles means what? Bottlenecks, impediments in the way of releasing suspects on bail, and the prolonged incarceration. We have got this for the first time. Imprisonment of those under trial. They haven't got the verdict, they haven't got the judgment. The case is still on, the trial is on, and they are imprisoned. That is also not a good thing. So, the three dimensions, hasty arrest, hurdles in the way of releasing suspects on bail, and the prolonged means you have got many a time, extended incarceration of those under trial. That expressions, what do they mean? What is the impact they're going to make? The expressions of concern, these are the expressions of concern. The expressions of concern are a timely reminder to regimes. We have got the word regime many a time. What does it mean? It is, it means government, usually authoritative, need not be. The expressions of concern, all these are expressions of concern. That's the reason why the word bemoan, the word has been used. The expressions of concern are a timely reminder to regimes that have been using their police powers to crack down on critics, activists, and those not politically aligned with them. This sentence talks about it is something like against the government. The expressions of concern are a timely reminder to the regimes, to regimes. That means to the government, to the center, obviously, or a state government for that matter, that have been using their police powers to crack down, an important phrasal verb, to start dealing with bad or illegal behavior in a more severe way, crack down on critics, activists, and those not politically aligned. Here, aligned means give support to, be with a particular party, not politically aligned with them. However, there is an irony in quotes. The word irony means a paradoxical situation. Even this we have got many a time, so I haven't brought the meaning. Something positive, something negative. They both exist at the same time. Then we say ironical, paradoxical. However, there is an irony in quotes batting for personal liberty and lamenting indiscriminate arrest on the one hand, but routinely denying bail or postponing bail hearings on the other. Positive, what is it is a paradoxical situation. It is an irony. What is that? Something positive. Courts batting for, supporting personal liberty and lamenting. Lament, an important word, a passionate expression of grief or sorrow, indiscriminate, without any reason, without any rationality. Arrest, on the one hand, lamenting or feeling bad or expressing sorrow for indiscriminate arrest on the one hand, that is something positive. But routinely denying bail or postponing bail hearings on the other. On the one hand, the court says these things like hasty arrest, hurdles in the way of releasing suspects on bail, and the prolonged incarceration of those under trial, not good. But at the same time, routinely, regularly denying bail, saying no to bail, or postponing bail hearings on the other. Something positive, something negative. So it is a paradoxical situation. But to understand, you have to know all these words, only then you can comprehend. Nevertheless, nevertheless, an important adverb, in spite of that, notwithstanding, all the same, the verdict, a decision on an issue of fact in a civil or criminal case or an inquest. Nevertheless, the verdict reiterating, reiterate means say something again or a number of times, typically for emphasis or clarity. Nevertheless, in spite of that, the verdict reiterating the major principles in favor of granting bail. The court is in favor of granting bail. The verdict reiterating the major principles in favor of granting bail and laying down constructive guidelines for arrest is quite valuable. There are two things over here. The court reiterating the verdict, reiterating the major principles in favor of granting bail. That is something positive. At the same time, laying down, this is an important word. It comes under confusing verbs. Lie, lay, laying. Different. Here, lay, laid, laid means to put down. Laying down constructive guidelines for arrest is quite valuable. For instance, for example, the bench has called for standing orders to adhere to the Arnesh Kumar 2014 principles based on sections 41 and 41A of the Code of Criminal Procedure, under which a police officer is required to record reasons for arresting an accused and is expected to issue a notice of appearance in cases involving offenses that attract a prison term of less than 7 years. A pretty lengthy sentence, but here let us look at the words first. Call for, make something necessary or demand something. standing orders and instructions that has to be followed strictly, adhere to, stick to. Accused, a person or group of people who are charged with or on trial for a crime. So, what does it talk about the lengthy sentence? The previous sentence talks about two positive aspects. One, the verdict reiterating major principles in favor of granting bail. The other, laying down constructive guidelines for arrest, is quite valuable. For instance, the bench has called for standing orders to adhere to, called for demanded standing orders to adhere to stick to. The Arnesh Kumar 2014 principles, based on sections 41 and 41A of the Code of Criminal Procedure, and under which, based on that, a police officer is required to record reasons. There should be a reason for arresting an accused and is expected to issue a notice of appearance in cases involving offenses that attract a prison term of less than 7 years. So, without a reason, they are not supposed to arrest. The verdict has other positive aspects. What are the other positive aspects? Setting time limits for the disposal of bail. There should be a time limit. That's a good thing. There's no time limit. It may get extended. That cannot be justified. Setting time limits for the disposal of bail and anticipatory bail applications, and underscoring that an arrest must be made only when actually required or to prevent the accused from fleeing justice or tampering with evidence. Again, a lengthy sentence. It talks about positive aspects, other positive aspects. One, setting time limits for the disposal of bail. There should be some time limit. And also anticipatory bail applications, and underscoring, emphasizing that an arrest must be made only when actually required. When is it actually required? If they think the accused is going to flee from the country or from the place, or if the accused tries to tamper with evidence, then they have to arrest. An arrest must be made only when actually required or to prevent the accused from fleeing justice, escaping, running away, or tampering with evidence. In an interesting contribution, the bench has mooted a separate bail act on the lines of the one in the United Kingdom to streamline the bail process. It talks about a new development. In an interesting contribution, the bench has mooted. In this context, it means initiated, raised for discussion, or suggest a separate bail act on the lines of, similar to, the one in the United Kingdom to streamline the bail process. Streamline, simplify something. It is indeed true that despite the basics of bail law being quite known, especially that bail is a rule and its denial the exception, there are glaring inconsistencies over who gets bail, who is denied it, and what stage it is given. This is again, this editorial as such, not that easy to comprehend. One, a lot of words. Second, it goes with law. Anything related to law, crime, not easy to comprehend. It is indeed true that despite the basics of bail law, in spite of the basics of bail law being quite known, everyone knows, especially that bail is a rule and its denial the exception. Bail is a rule, its denial the exception. There are glaring inconsistencies over who gets bail. That means it is not being followed, who is denied it, and what stage it is given. All the things matter. A separate law may provide a common reference point, but whether it will put an end to the country's unstated rule, show me the man and I will show you the law, will ever fade away. So, how does the editorial end? A separate law related to bail may provide a common reference point, but whether it will put an end to the country's unstated rule. What is that unstated rule? Show me the man and I will show you the law, will ever fade away, disappear. The state of the magistracy also requires an overhaul. The judiciary has to be overhauled, means restructured. It ends on that particular note. Oh, we still have. I suppose this is the last one. Magistrates seem conditioned to authorizing mechanical remand whenever someone is produced before them. Remand means what? A system or standard of measurement, but here send someone to prison. Magistrates seem conditioned. They are conditioned to authorizing mechanical remand whenever someone is produced before them and to decline bail as soon as a prosecutor opposes it. Decline means refuse. Therefore, it is indeed welcome that the court has made it clear that bail can be considered even without a formal application at the stage of production before the court or when a person responds to a summons or warrant. So it talks about something is positive again. What is it? Therefore, it is indeed welcome that the court has made it clear that bail can be considered even without a formal application at the stage of production before the court, or when a person responds to a summons or warrant. If the person responds, there is no need as such. More than the law, the police must first put an end to the practice of reflexively arresting first and then fishing for a possible offense. I will talk about that. How does the editorial end? More than the law, the police must first put an end stop to the practice of reflexively. Reflexively, in this context, it means without thinking, spontaneously, arresting first and then fishing for a possible offense. It should be the other way. Editorial is all about that. No, this is not the meaning. That's all about the editorial. It has taken a lot of time, and one has to read twice or thrice to understand an editorial like this because of the words and because of the context. What are the possible questions based on comprehension skill? What is this editorial about? What are the things that have drawn attention? Keywords, things that have drawn attention to the manner in which bail law operates in the country. What is irony? Keyword in the context of the editorial. Based on one word, you can easily locate and write the answer. The bench has called for standing orders to adhere to what? Again, keywords called for something. What? Standing orders to adhere to. What? Why has the bench mooted a separate bail act on the lines of the one in the United Kingdom? What is the reason behind? You should be able to answer. Now, let us, before we go to practice questions based on exam topics, right now I'm offering two courses. One, General English for SSC exams. Course fee is 1,750, 250 discount. Actual course fee 2,000. Every morning 11:30 a.m. And if you miss the live class, you can watch the recorded video. Validity 1 year. Medium of instruction, it is English. Another course for bank exams, English for bank exams, 50% off, 1,000 rupees. And if you want more information, you can call me on 7032325590. Today I have brought 4 sets of practice questions based on exam topics. Please read the first one very carefully. Lengthy sentences, not that easy. That is usually conclusion, introduction, conclusion. They try to use the same idea for reinforcement. Thank you very much. Please answer the first one. It looks like a paragraph. Both the Houses of Parliament witnessed adjournment on first day of the monsoon session as opposition protested against a price rise, Agnipath scheme, and imposing goods and services tax on items such as packaged milk and rice. Nothing wrong with here. Every time we don't have to, on first day. Generally speaking, it should be on the first day. But here that is not the error because the clause says on first day of the monsoon session. It happened on the first day. That is different. First day of the monsoon session. Still, I feel there should have been there. But that is not the error. What is the error? This is not an easy one. The reason being, this is based on parallel expression. From here, you have to focus. As opposition protested against what you ask, price rise, noun, Agnipath scheme, noun, and here imposing. Imposing is a verb. You cannot use. You have to use all the three should be nouns. Then it is imposition of. What is a noun form of that word? Imposition of goods and services tax. So where is the error? In the fourth part, there is an error. Imposing goods is not correct. Imposition of. Imposition is a noun form. Here we have price rise, noun form. Agnipath scheme, noun form. And imposition of something, imposition, noun. And this question is based on parallel expression. Not easy to answer, not easy to spot the error. A new breed of global institutions were created to prevent the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, rebuild shattered economies, and maintain global peace. First, you try to spot the error, then I will give the meaning. A few words you have to know the meanings, important words. What is the subject of this sentence? A new breed. The key word breed. It is like a group of global institutions. That is a phrase we should not consider. Because the subject here is singular, we have to use a singular verb. That means in the second part there's an error. A new breed of global institutions was, not were, was created to prevent proliferation, an important word, spreading very fast, spreading quickly, proliferate, of weapons of mass destruction, rebuild shattered. Shattered means to get destroyed and devastated, shattered. Usually it goes with confidence. His confidence was shattered, we say sometimes. Economies, they get shattered and maintain global peace. So this question is about subject verb agreement. Here it may look easy, but under pressure, not an easy question, quite challenging. First, you have to know the word breed. Breed could be a verb, could be a noun. Here it is a noun. Breed, bread, bread, verb. But which breed is that? It's a noun. A new breed, noun. Singular, we have to use a singular verb. Let us go to question number 3. A shorter work week is seen as welcome step toward gender equality and women's career progression. A short sentence, you should be able to spot the error, but you got to read meticulously. That is very important. A shorter work week is seen as welcome step. Will you say welcome step or a welcome step? One word is not exactly word. The indefinite article a is missing. A shorter work week is seen as a welcome step. That is a phrase. Toward, no, nothing wrong with toward, towards, both mean the same. Nothing wrong with that word. You can say toward, towards, both mean the same. I think once I have clarified that. Toward gender equality and women's career progression. That is not the error. There is an error in the second part. Is seen as what? A welcome step. A welcome step. That is a standard phrase. The question is based on a phrase. What is a phrase here? A welcome step. This is a lengthy sentence you got to read very carefully to be able to spot the error. A leader without a social and political base dependent on them will not just sing but also dance to their tunes and sell the strategic assets of the country for a song. Not that easy. Read carefully, meticulously. No one has responded. That is a bit surprising. A leader without a social and political base dependent on them, on someone, will not just sing but also dance to their tunes and sell the strategic assets of the country for a song. Still no response. Usually, what happens, I always tell students, when it comes to English, do remember there are exceptions. Many students have a fixed idea. Whenever they come across not but also, they think of not only, obviously, not only but also, but need not be all the time. Based on the context, you have to decide whether we have to use the word only or not. Here, look at the sentence very carefully. A leader without a social and political base dependent on them will not just sing. The word just is there. Will not just sing, but also dance to their tunes. Here, there are two expressions. Will not only sing, but also dance. That is one idea. Very good. Who is this? Tapa. I appreciate. But here, the word just is there. That means you don't have to use the word only. Will not just sing, but also dance to their tunes and sell the strategic assets of the country for a song. Answer is no error. That's really good. Only one student has said no error. Not easy. And do remember, not only but also a standard combination. Need not be all the time. I always tell students the most important thing is context. Understand the context, contextual awareness, only then you'll be able to. In the 1980s, Transport Corporation celebrated Ayudha Puja as if it was a public festival. Now also, I suppose, why 80s? Today also they do the same thing. Transport corporations, almost all the companies, 1980s transport corporations, now almost all the companies, especially manufacturing sector. I don't know about the service sector. Where is the error? In the 1980s, transport corporations celebrated Ayudha Puja as if it was a public festival. All the questions are very important. Today, the questions are not that easy. Here, there's a clue. What is it? As if. Then you cannot use a singular verb. You have to use a plural verb, the to be. To be in the plural form, past. As if she behaves as if she were the boss. The same way as if it were a public festival. Not it was, it were. No, no, nothing wrong with as if. As if, this is the expression, nothing wrong with that. After that, you have to use the primary auxiliary to be in the past form, in the plural form. No, no, we cannot remove if. It has to be there. Now let us go to 5 questions based on phrases. The thief carried the knife carefully to not cut himself. The thief carried the knife carefully to not cut himself. No one has responded. One third option, you mean. The thief carried the knife carefully to not cut. That is not correct. So as not to cut. A little elaborate. So not to. Not to cut. Answer is the third option. Very good. So many students have got it right. Not in order to. No. The thief carried the knife carefully not to cut himself. That's enough. So as not to cut. No. Not to cut himself. That is enough. Answer is the third option. Good. That's really good. Under pressure, not easy. A wealthy coin collector. What is the word for that person? Numismatist. A person who collects, hobby to collect coins or currencies, numismatist, and the field is known as The hobby is known as numismatics. A wealthy coin collector was eager to pay the huge sum for the coin because it was one kind. It was one kind of one kinds, one of kinds, one of a kind, one of those kinds. Very difficult under pressure. What is the answer for the second one? No response? A wealthy coin collector was eager to pay the huge sum for the coin because it was one kind, not correct at the outset. It was of one kinds, again not correct. It was one of kinds, doesn't make any sense. It was one of a kind. Answer is the third option. It was one of those kinds, not at all correct. It was one of a kind. One of a kind means unique. What does it mean? Unique, different. No, answer is the third option. It was one of a kind. It goes with persons as well. He is one of a kind. She is one of a kind. It is one of a kind. Here it is in the past form. He not to have resigned. We would have been forced to dismiss him. This is a good question, but easy to answer based on grammar knowledge. He not to have resigned. We would have been forced. Whenever you come across would have been forced, usually the pattern would plus have plus verb past participle, but here it is in passive voice. Immediately you have to think of conditionals. Which conditional? Past conditional. This pattern main clause would plus have plus verb goes with past conditional. And if clause, usually we use the word if, but you can drop the word if. When you drop the word if, you have to use a past perfect in interrogative form. Here you don't see the word if, and it has to be in past perfect. This is ruled out. Had he not, hold that one. Had not he. He had not, affirmative. He not had doesn't make any sense. Had he not, that is interrogative form. If he had not, if he had not, one option. You drop the word if, then this should be in interrogative. Had he not? Answer is the first option. An easy one based on grammar knowledge, but you should know that for sure. Question number 4. Their all hard work had been of no use. This is rather easy, should not be that difficult. Had he not? Yes. Their all hard work. Will you say their all hard work? Or will you say all their hard work? What will you say? Very good. Madhav, I appreciate to give, to get sacked, to give a pink slip, to sack someone, to show the door, to fire someone. They're all hard work, not correct. All their hard work of all, not correct. They're all of an easy one. All their hard work had been of no use. Then you have to think of two idioms. One is all their hard work had gone to dogs. All their hard work had gone down the drain. Both mean the same. Has gone here because the verb is in past. Had gone down the drain, had gone to dogs. Means no use. Wasted. She never felt that it was not of her business to get involved in somebody else's family matter. This is also very confusing under pressure. Down the drain, had gone down the drain. The word down should be there. She never felt that it was not of her business to get involved in somebody else's family matter. Very good. Within no time, who is this? Murthy, I appreciate that. After that, Deepa also. She never felt that it was not of her business, that is not grammatically correct, but she never felt that it was none of her business to get involved in somebody else's family matter. It's a standard expression. When someone tries to interfere, we say it is none of your business. So she never felt that it was none of her business, obviously. Answer is very good. I thought you would take a lot of time, but within no time you got it right. Now we have, to some extent, difficult, a para jumble from today's newspaper. Try to get it right. There are six parts. Not very difficult. What is the first one? In 2018, you can consider, unlike storms and floods, he does not lead. You can consider, but a pronoun cannot be the first sentence. Mainly in India and China, it is there's no subject, so cannot consider. As statisticians cannot be the first one. Now it should be either A, B, or F. You have to understand the context, the broad framework. What is this about? If you ask the question, what is this about? It is about heat waves. Heat waves may generate headlines, but less attention is paid to them than they deserve. The first one is F. No one has got, I think Shrikant has got it right. Very good. Only one student. Heat waves may generate headlines, but less attention is paid to them than they deserve. This is all about heat waves. So F should be the first one. Then to substantiate that, why do they generate headlines? In 2018, roughly 3 lakh people over the age of 65 died as a result of extreme heat. So second one is A, mainly in India and China, a 54% increase since 2000, according to a report in the Lancet, a medical journal. FAD, one group. It's all about heat waves. Here, 3 lakh people. Where? Mainly in India and China. To substantiate that, 3 lakh, not a small number, here you have to no. Unlike storms and floods, heat does not lead to a dramatic before and after pictures or widespread damage to property. Here it talks about, unlike storms and floods, heat does not lead to dramatic before and after pictures or widespread damage to property. Obviously, the next one should be, it is a silent killer. BC, they form a pair. It is a silent killer. Its victims often apparent only in retrospect. As statisticians tot up excess deaths and hospital admissions. E is the last one. Suggestions, usually what I tell students, para jumble. First, you have to get the topic sentence, the sentence with the main idea. How do you get? You have to take elimination approach. Any part with a pronoun and conjunctions, contrasting words, the definite article, the, though exceptions are there, cannot be the, and demonstrative pronouns, demonstrative adjectives, cannot be the first one. Eliminate. Then you can get the first sentence. After that, you have to look for pairs of sentences. You may have two pairs or three pairs. That is again easy. Getting the topic sentence easy. But after that, to get the correct order, you have to have you have to get the broad framework. What does a writer want? What does he want to convey? What does she want to convey? The broad framework. Once you grasp that, you get the correct order. And to get that awareness, you have to read a lot. Expose yourself to a variety of contexts. Only then you understand. Otherwise, you may go a little off the track. In brief, the tips. Now we have 5 idioms. Today it is all about the editorial is also about law. Idioms also about law. The long arm of the law. So what is the meaning of that? Sometimes it happens, nothing to worry. BC also a pair. Refers to the far-reaching power of the authorities or the police. Very good. This is the fifth option. Unwritten law. What does it mean? Means an accepted rule in spite of its informality. Answer is the third one. Law unto oneself. Oneself, based on that you can guess, means a person behaves in an independent way, ignoring rules and what is generally accepted as correct. Fourth option. Law of the jungle means survival of the strongest or the fittest. Above the law, excuse me, some people are above the law. What does it mean? Means exempt from the laws that apply to everyone else. Above the law. Law is not applicable to them. So, has anyone got all the 5 correct? Now we have enrich your word power based on editorial vocabulary. In a way, consolidation. The first word, bemoan, it's a verb. So, what does it mean? All the 5 you should be happy. That's good. The law of the day of the law would have been better. Bemoan. One D. Very good. Express discontent or sorrow. Lament is also a verb. Subtle difference between bemoan, lament. In a way, they are synonyms, but what is the meaning? Passionate expression of grief or sorrow. G is the answer. Yes, Dontu, you're right. 2G. Incarceration, noun. A new word you have to remember by spending more time. Incarceration means what? Imprisonment. Reiterate, that is also a regular verb. Day of the law. Oh, you have heard that. Reiterate. Say something again for the purpose of emphasizing or a number of times. Reiterate something. Adhere to. It is a phrasal verb. Stick to or follow. Believe in and follow the rules and regulations usually. Who is this? Out of the context, but still I will answer. Weather is everyday pattern. Climate is a pattern for 100 years or 200 years. That is the reason why when you watch TV, they say today's weather report. They never say today's climate report. Weather, everyday conditions. humidity, all those things. But climate pattern for many a long time. That is a basic difference. Adhere to means what? Believe in and follow. I. Denial comes from the verb deny. Deny is a verb, denial noun. Statement that something is not true. Glaring mistake, generally a typical combination based on that, obviously. Adjective. It has a negative connotation. Means what? Very obvious, something that is obvious. C. Fade goes with everyday English. I'm sure you guys know. Fade, faded, faded. Gradually grow faint and disappear or vanish. Overhaul means what? Restructure. Need not be, depends on the sentence pattern. Usually takes protest against someone or protest against something. Need not be all the time. They oppose the protest. You don't have to use against. Remember, it always depends on the context, the sentence pattern. It is a verb, means what? Act of completely changing. B. Flee is also a verb. It goes with everyday English as well as effective English. Flee, fled, fled. Run away from a place, escape. You got 10 words yesterday. Recollection. Has anyone got all the 10 words correct? Today, in fact, so many words. Some of these are easy. But all the 10, if you say part of speech, meaning, if you say I got all the 10 correct, that is outstanding. Now try to recollect you got these words yesterday. Appease means what? Once you respond, then I'll tick that. I'll go to the next word. Appease. Appease usually appease someone. Pacify, placate, mollify. Stacked. What do you mean by redundancy? So then what about redundancy? What does it mean? Regarding what? You have to make it clear. I'm not able to get it. Vijay Kumar. So then what about redundancy? What does it mean? Covered with something here. Second one is what? Have you written? Covered with something. Exactly. Confrontation. Direct confrontation, wrong. That is redundancy. Only confrontation. No, no, you can use protest against the government, protest against the management. That is not redundancy. In English, we have a lot of patterns. It is not a rule that whenever you use the word protest, you have to use the word against. It is not like that. In some contexts, we have to use the word against. In some contexts, we don't have to use. One example, they protested against the management last year. The management did not approve, did not like the protest. Fine. That's what I'm telling. I got it. Partisan means what? Showing, supporting a particular party or a cause, one meaning. Also, uh, also showing prejudice or bias. Confrontation, head-on collision of hostile parties. Hostile parties are groups coming, facing each other. In tandem, an important expression. It takes a verb, work in tandem, alongside, alongside with someone, work with someone in tandem, alongside each other. Very good. Cliched, cliched statement. Certain expressions are used in public life repeatedly. For those expressions we say cliched, expressions used. You got it? Very good. I appreciate. Cliched means what? Repeated expressions. Potent, potential, I'm sure you guys know. From that you have. From this you have potential. He has a potential or she has a potential. Means what? Great power. Hail from. Yes. Only hail a different meaning. Hail from a different meaning. Come from. Belong to a particular place. He hails from UP. She hails from Delhi. Belongs to Delhi. Uphold. It's a legal term. Native also you can say. Yes, of course. But generally belong to. Originating from. You can say that as well. Uphold means what? It's a legal term. Support. Uphold means what? Support. And temperament. Someone's temperament. What is the meaning of temperament? Not exact, confirm for uphold, but what is the meaning of temperament? I don't like his temperament, or I don't like their temperament. Typical examples. Generally, we say temperament, what do we say? Someone's attitude, outlook, nature, or behavior that goes with that person. Very good. I appreciate. Purushottam. That's all for today. Thanks for being with me till 2 past 8. Do remember to subscribe and share. And after the session, go to the description of the video. Those who want to purchase the course, I have provided the link for the app. When you click on the link, you go to the app, then you can go through the courses and you can decide whether to purchase or not. And if you want to join the Telegram group, for that also, I've provided the link. I will see you guys only for today. It is at 7 p.m. Tomorrow it is going to be at 8 a.m. As usual, the regular time, Hindu editorial analysis, as well as practice questions based on exam topics. Hope you guys have got enriched.